Welcome to a new Bizagi Pulse session. Maybe for the ones that doesn't know me, my name is Kevin Guerrero. I am the Director of Product Marketing here in Bizagi. And today we will be doing a deep dive about this Bizagi Spring 2024, right? Just a couple of weeks ago, I was presenting the release, our Bizagi Spring 2024. And today, what I would like to do is to actually maybe go deeper into some of the strategic directives that actually we got when we're talking about Bizagi, right? We will be covering more in detail everything that it's about the modern experience, the enterprise class, the governance, and at the end, we will have maybe some time for the Q&A, right? Probably if you realize or if you identify there is one that is missing there, that it's basically the AI productivity, right? The artificial intelligence productivity. And the reason of why we're not going into detail on this session is because that's something that we will go in detail, and we will have a whole session on July. That is where we will be covering everything in terms about the artificial intelligence on this release, okay? So, before we start, right, let me just go really quickly into a quick recap of what has happened the last couple of years here in Bizagi, what we have done, and how this Bizagi Spring 2024 version came into place to actually make huge advantages and huge innovation for us as a company, right? So the last couple of years, right, has been really exciting time here in Bizagi. Starting from 2022, we made a really important decision from the company perspective, and it was to become a cloud-only company, right? One of the main reasons, or one of the main things that actually we got at that point is, look, we need to focus in the innovation. We need to actually concentrate every single effort that we got in the company to innovate much faster in the market and to provide to our customers better and much newer and impactful capabilities within the platform. Taking that decision has actually enabled everything that we have seen in the last year, that it is basically fast innovation and rapid delivery value with every single release that we got into the market. So in spring 2023, we were able to actually present or to introduce into the market what it was called the Bizagi apps, right? This huge capability, these amazing features that actually allows us to create customizable and personalized experience for different users that work in your application, right? Then, on fall 2023, we were able to actually introduce what it was called the first Bizagi artificial intelligence assistant that it was called Ada, right? With Ada, we did present what it was called Ask Ada, that amazing capability that you can add it with within one of your apps, and that then, using the natural language, you can ask whatever you want to Ada, and Ada is going to take care of the complexities of the queries and the SQL statements and whatever is required, and it is going to just give you business insight in a really easy way, right? And now we are in 2024, and we are presenting now what it is coming, or what it's have for us, our Spring 2024, right? We did introduce a couple of weeks ago what it was the Bizagi AI agents. We will go much deeper on that one on our next session in July, right? But in order to understand also the way on how we are working right now in the company and how we actually create every single version, it's really important for everyone to understand this concept of the strategic directives, right? So basically, this came us into the pillars where we have to focus our efforts and what we're doing in every single version to actually support each of these ones. These strategic directives has been evolving also at the same time as the market evolves. And right now we have these 4 strategic directives. The first one is everything that actually enclose what it is called the modern experience. So how we are able to create modern experience for all the users that interact with our applications. And here is where we got all those, let's say, 3 steps to create our applications. Creating the application using the experience matrix, then customize your applications from the UI perspective using the app designer, and finally launch those applications into the app launcher where end users can work, right? Then we got a second strategic directive that is everything in terms of the governance. And what we're talking about, the governance, is how we can actually add inside of our platform, inside of our products, actually built-in safe measures that allow us to control who can do what information can every single persona can see, how we can customize what every single one that is working in a project view or not, right? And finally, we got one big one that is the enterprise class strategic directive. And it's the one where we actually make our platform much more robust. And at the same time, is how we can fit those business and technical details and allow our customers to be much more independent and to actually go at the same speed that also we need in the market. Before, even the AI productivity strategic directive was separated or was also, let's say, as the modern experience, the governance, and the enterprise class, right? But what we have realized this year is that actually AI productivity is going to be everywhere, right? So it's not only that we will have it just AI productivity within the apps with data. No, we're also adding now the agents, and those agents will probably improve a lot of stuff in terms of the enterprise class. And later we will be adding the copilot. So we will just get also a lot of things. So that's why artificial intelligence productivity is not anymore as a, let's say, isolated a strategic directive, but actually it is one that it is going to cross over every single one of them, right? And with this Spring 2024 version, we're also presenting this new idea that with Bizagi, we are reinventing the automation, right? And in order to actually reinvent the automation, we just need different focus and different, let's say, pillars that allow us to do this. And one of the most important ones is the orchestration, right? So it's how we can use Bizagi as that main orchestrator to just coordinate the execution of artificial intelligence, people, processes, systems, data, and bots. Every single day, the market is realizing that we cannot focus anymore in simple task improvement or to just solve that little problem that we were having at one point in one of our applications. And instead of that, we just need to focus into the end-to-end automation, in how we can see one process from the beginning to the end, how we can see applications that are composed by multiple processes interacting together, right? And that all of this actually goes at the same speed of the AI innovation, because it's definitely true that AI has speed up the innovation that we're seeing in the market. I don't know if you have realized or if you have seen recently, but I don't know, it looks like that every single couple of weeks we are seeing, I don't know, even new versions of artificial intelligence, new machines, new processors. Everything is going so fast to just support what the artificial intelligence is actually looking for, and it needs to deliver value for companies. And at the end, right, the only way on how we are able to reinvent the automation is not only to orchestrate, is not only to do the end-to-end automation, is not only to just go into the speed of the AI, but at the same time is to actually have governance in place. If governance is not in place in this reinvention of the automation, this is going to get out of control really quickly, really soon, and then this is not let us go at the place that we want to go, right? So now with these ideas, with our strategic directives, let's start seeing in detail what we got in this Spring 2024. And we will start mainly with the strategic directive that is the modern experience. So in this Spring 2024, we have had a lot of things in terms of what it is in the modern experience one. I'm going to start highlighting some of them first, right? And then at some point, I will just be switching between the presentation and the platform so you are able to actually see live what's happening, what we have, what are the information that it is being available for us, right? And we are going to start with one really important one, that is the Tableau integration, right? So 1 year ago, when we were presenting Bizagi apps, we presented to the market and we provide the market the option to actually embed Power BI reports. That was the first solution that we got. When we were analyzing the reporting tools, Power BI had, let's say, a really good part of the market. But then when we start presenting Bizagi apps, one of the early feedbacks that we started getting was like, okay, you know what? there is also a lot of customers having Tableau. So in this version, what we have done is actually to deliver a Tableau out-of-the-box integration. So now it's possible to embed your Tableau reports also within your Bizagi apps, right? And the way on how this integration works is, let's say, quite simple, quite similar to what we were doing when we had our Power BI. And it is, we just need another authentication following the authentication protocol, right? And it is, we need a client ID, client secret, a secret value, and then the URL where the report it is actually saved, right? And once that we got all of this from the execution point of view, what we will be doing or what we will be seeing, it is actually our Tableau reports working and executing at any point. So how all of this actually looks like if we just go and take a look quickly into our platform, right? So all these reporting tools are available in the expert module, and we go, or in the expert view, sorry, and if we need to go specifically into the external systems, and in the external system, remember that we got this data visualization section, right? So now what we have done in Spring 2024, it is to just add this Tableau option. You can create as many connections as you want, or as many, let's say, connections to tenants to Tableau. The integration or the connection with that one, as I was telling you, it's, let's say, quite standard with what we have seen in other tools. It is just a client ID, it's a client secret value, and then the email of the one that is actually accessing this information. And once that you just got the connection to the tenant, then you just go, or you are able to just go directly to add the different reports that you actually want to see when you are executing or when you want to execute your applications. Now, something that is really important is that we keep with the same feature that we had before with Power BI 2, that is the option to add multiple or different filters when you are executing your reports. And then once that you got all this, let's say, configuration in Bizagi Studio, then you can just add the report directly into your apps using the app designer with an out-of-the-box approach that it is, let's say, no code at all, right? So you just drag and drop, you select which is the report that you want to use, and then this one is going to just work directly. And when we saw, right, those reports running around or working or executing, so basically this is what we will be able to see, right? So this is already a Tableau report that has been added into my application. I can use all the, let's say, power and all the capabilities that we got from Tableau directly in our app. So I can just move from different tabs if it is required. I can just select one of the elements that we got here. So if, I don't know, if I want to see everything in terms of California, I can select one of these ones, and then the whole report will adapt itself to just show me information from this part. So we're really sure that now that we got Power BI and that we got Tableau, we are covering a huge amount of customers that actually use these two as the reporting tools. We know that there are auditing reporting tools. We know that there are customers that are using something different. We know it. We will be working to add more reporting tools as out of the box to actually embed those reports within your application. But for now, these two, let's say, covers a big part of the market. So it is a big step for us in that part, right? So now this is the first one of the big developments that we got when we're working in modern experience, right? Now, the second one, it is going to be a combination of a lot of stuffs, right? So we have done a lot of improvements in the Bizagi experience matrix, right? So once again, when we introduce Bizagi apps, we introduce the option to create applications as easy as following three simple steps. Create your application using the experience matrix, then customize your application using the app designer, and finally publish that application into the app launcher where any user will be able to execute the application, right? So in this release of the Spring 2024, we have improved all those elements. We have improved a lot of things into the experience matrix and also a lot of things over the app designer, right? What we have done, and let me start first with the experience matrix. So for the ones that maybe are not completely, let's say, maybe familiarized with the experience matrix, remember that this is a whole new view that we got in Bizagi Studio. It is a place on how we can actually compose now our applications, and it is a simple view of the personas that interacts in the application that are personas will be displayed actually as the different rows that you got on your matrix. Then you got business objects as the different columns, and the intersection that it is what the persona can do over every single business object is what we call the interactions that are nothing different than the actions, right? That's what we got into this point. So what we're presenting here in this Spring 2024 is that now within the experience matrix, you will have a lot of improvements in terms of how you can see those actions and even the option to add or to include new type of actions here. So what we are going to get at here, it is first, the first thing that it is being improved is that now we got a whole new section that allow us to control all the actions and all the views that we got over a specific business object. And when we're talking about those manage actions or manage view, we will be able to see these two elements too. So now it is possible that within your application, you can add form actions and also rules actions. So what is every one of them? So before, when we present Bizagi app for the first time, we had the option to start processes as actions, right? So let's take the example of the lending demo where we are having a customer advisor has access to the customer, and what the customer advisor can do over the customer is to, for example, start a new credit card application. That credit card application was basically a process, right? However, one of the things that we wanted to do is that probably we don't want to start a process all the times, right? We don't want to have option just to start processes. Sometimes we just need simple steps. Like what? Sometimes maybe the only thing that I want is to update some basic information from the client, right? Or sometimes I just want to create a whole client as a whole, right? Or sometimes I just want to modify something in terms of the data of the client, right? Let's say that I want to just add or change the credit score of the customer, right? Or let's say that probably I just want to modify the address, or I want to just send him a notification. So forms actions that are the first one that I'm presenting here, it is the option to just create single page forms that allows you either to update existing records or to create existing records. That's the whole point over the form actions. And when we're talking about the rule actions, basically what we are talking about here, it is the possibility to execute business rules directly, right, into the corresponding business object that you are getting without the need to actually have a whole process over there. Now, something really important about the rules action is that these rules action will actually appear or will be displayed this particular point either if you are working on a table where we are seeing information from a collection or if you are in a detailed page. Remember that, for example, if I have my list of customers, right, and then I click in one of those customers, I am going into the detail page, and in that detail page is where I'm going to be able to actually see also these rule actions. So now we got a new place to manage all the actions in the Bizagi Experience Matrix, that is manage actions, manage views, and now we have two more options to create actions. Not only processes, now action forms, and now rules actions. Okay, and I'm going to show you these ones in the platform so you will make it or you will understand them even much more simple into this particular point, right? So now what we got is that at the moment that we go into the experience matrix, and let me just go really quickly here for you to see this one, we will be able to just get this part, right? So I got my experience matrix. Now for every single business object, I can go into the three dots and I am going to be able to see this whole menu where I can manage my actions, manage my views, remove the object from the matrix, edit the business object, or even expose some attributes. When I open the manage actions option, now I am going to have the option to see create or update. Let's say that these two are going to be what I was telling you that are called form actions. So it means that when I go and see exactly what is happening at this level, what is happening at this point, basically what I am going to be able to see is just a form. So which are the fields that will be presented to the end user, and which from those fields are required, are mandatory, are visible, are not visible. And once that we finish this, a new record will be created. In the same way, or in a really quite similar way, we got also the updates. So now, when I go into the update, I am going to also get the information of creating the record, either using a form, updating the record using the form, or if I want, I can also use a process. In this case, I have my creation and my update basically just with two form actions that simplifies the way on how my application works, right? But now, once that we finish this top section where we got the record actions, create or update, then we got the section that show us everything that are the business actions. And here in the business actions, we will be able to see the ones that actually start a new process, like for example, this register policy one, that we got it here. We register the policy, we just move it, and we just start a whole new process here. Or now we got the ones that are called the rules actions. So here I am not going to start a whole new process. I am going to just execute a business rule, and that business rule will allow me to just change something on the data of the object that I'm working. In this example, I basically have just one that allows me to change a customer from, let's say, regular to a VIP one. And when I see what I am doing here, basically I am executing a business rule. Something really important about these rules actions, right, is that the context of the action or the context of the expression will depend on the business object where we are creating that one. So what's the meaning of that? If I am creating a rule action over the customer entity, it means that the context of that action, it is the customer. And we can we can see that easily because at the moment that I open the expression and I open the data model, take a look that my starting point of navigating the data model is actually the client entity. So it means the context of this expression, it is the client entity, and that match perfectly with what we are seeing here in our wizard, that it is that this is in the client entity on the top, and this is a business rule, right? So now we got that opportunity that allow me to manage all my actions, manage also all my views. So take a look that I can add as many views as I want. I can edit the ones that I have existing, select which is the persona that we can have it or not, right? And at the same time, now I got the records that I can create, that I can update using a process or using a form, right? So this is everything that we have added for our experience matrix, right? So it's really nice, it's really amazing because it's going to also allow you to create applications much more flexible and with much more power, but at the same time, it's going to be really simple to create them at that point, right? Now, when we got into this part, and I'm going to move a little forward here, it is the app designer. And for the app designer, we have, let's say, other improvements. I will show you when we're executing the app designer live. But basically now we have added a new table control. So now the control that we will be using to see collections, to see views, to see cases has been improved and now has much more flexibility to create actually or to display the information that you want. And combined with that table control, we actually have something that it is called the common actions, right? And those common actions are, if you are in this table control and within the records of that table, you have these rule actions that I showed you just before that can be executed for multiple records at the same time, then I can just check those records that I want and then automatically execute it without waiting anything at all, right? So it's like executing in batch some of these rule actions that I have there, right? And finally, in terms of the app designer too, we have included a new way on how you can actually, let's say, create your application using different layouts. So one of the feedback that we got from some of our customers is that they want to have much more, let's say, flexibility in terms on how they want to distribute some of the elements within the applications. So now we have added a new inner layout. This inner layout is going to enable you to add different columns within your applications, within the pages that you are creating for your app, multiple rows if you got it here, and now you can configure and set up whatever you got it into this point. And finally, this mobile drawer that is specifically for those customers that are working from mobile devices, right? And this one is really important because what we have realized too is that when our customers are working in some of our applications, maybe they don't want to see all the time let's say, all the information in the page. So from a mobile device, what we have had is this option that allows you really quickly and really easy to just access the most important information and then collapse or expand the additional details when the customer requires. Now, from the platform perspective, let me just show you really quickly what I'm talking about when we're talking about the improvements in the app designer, right? And then what we have done also really quickly in terms of how it looks, the new table control in the execution, but also what we can do with those common actions that I was telling you. So here it is the app designer. This is, let's say I am in the app designer. I just have a new page that I just created from scratch. And when you just enter here, now we will be able to add multiple rows into my application. This is the first thing that we got. So multiple rows. If you just identify or if you just see some of the elements that we have added into this particular point, it is now take a look that depending on where you are, we are highlighting much more exactly where you are. If you are in the column, if you are in the row, if you are where you are, because this is going to make or it will be much more easier for you to identify exactly which element you are actually doing the addition or the elements that you got here. Now, if you are in your rows, you will be able to add this layout. That is the place where you will be able to just now add 2, 3, 4 different, let's say, sections here that once that you start adding controls into this one, it is going to make your application much better. Now, there is another detail, and it is when you are actually creating your applications, take a look at here, when you just drag and drop, take a look at the little detail that now we're highlighting every single object or every single control that we're dragging up. We are highlighting the area where the control is going to be located. So once again, these are like improvements in the way on how you use our applications here, right? Now, I told you that we got a new element or a new table control that is going to be used when we want to display information in tables. So this is the data table. I can just add it here easily. And we have add multiple improvements in terms of the configurations that you can do over this table, right? So take a look at now, you can rearrange the order of the columns, right? You can delete some columns that maybe you don't want to see. You can configure either, I don't know, some details in terms of the rows that you want to get it here. So you have now much more, let's say, configurations that will allow that your table actually is much more flexible and much easier to understand for some of your end users, right? And now, if you are using, right, these, let's say, new table control, take a look, this is the way on how it is going to look like in the execution, right? So here, I am in an application, I am seeing my clients. When I have got into my clients, I am able to basically just go and see the list of all the clients that I got on my app. But now, as I am using the new table control, take a look that I can just click and see all the details just right away directly into the table. I don't have to go out. I don't have to actually click somewhere else. I just click directly into this option, and then I will see this additional information from the client when it is required. And I told you that using this, let's say, new table control combined with the rules actions that we saw before will allow us to execute this common action, right? So take a look that in the new table control, I have this checkbox. And as soon as I select one of the records inside, I'm going to start seeing on the top which are the actions that are available for me to execute. So now, if I select even more than one, I can execute the batch action. The action is going to mark, in this example, 2 customers as a VIP and I will just do it with just one click in this point. So this is a really amazing and powerful feature that we have added here. So this is the way on how the new table control, the inner layout, and all the other configurations will look like for you in this part, right? So that's everything that we actually got in terms of the modern experience, right? There are a lot of more details, right? We have improved a lot of things within the forms. We have improved a lot of, let's say, things from the point of view on details on even some shadows within some of the controls. Everything that we have done to make our forms looks better has been included and has been added into this part, right? Now, if we move to the next one, that it is going to be about the next strategic directive, that it is enterprise class, here we are going to get something really important to hear. So on the last Bizagi Pulse session, when I was presenting the Bizagi Spring 2024 version, I talked a little bit about the triggers and actions, but we have much more things here, right? So take a look that it is a lot of self-services has been added into the platform. Self-services to restart your environment, self-service to schedule maintenance, self-service to manage your whitelist, self-service to just have local certificates. So there is a lot of self-services that has been added into this version. So I'm going to just go a little bit more in detail into some of them so you can understand it better in this point, right? So now, the first one that we got here in the enterprise class, it is definitely triggers and actions, right? And triggers and action is really important because it's the way on how we see that our customers can improve their ROI by replacing a lot of commodity bots that sometimes are not required. When we start developing this capability or this feature, we just realized that there was a lot of customers that were paying a lot of money for bots that were doing simple stuffs. Simple stuff like what? One bot checking one inbox, and as soon as a new email is received, it automatically creates a new case in Bizagi. So that was the moment where we say, okay, you know what? Then we can do that easily. And we did develop what it was called email trigger, right? So that email trigger was checking the inbox constantly. When one email is received that follow or that meets some condition, a new case can be created in Bizagi. Now, the second group of bots that we saw that a lot of customers were using were bots that were checking some file storage location, and if a new file is uploaded or updated, then a new case is being created. So we say, you know what, we can also do the same here in Bizagi. So with the one that we got here in this point, we are presenting now what it is being called the file triggers, right? And the file triggers basically will allow us to create cases automatically in Bizagi when a file is uploaded into a file storage. In this first version of file triggers, we're having out-of-the-box integrations with SharePoint or OneDrive for Business and Dropbox for Business. So if you got any of these storage locations, we can just have an out-of-the-box integration with them and create cases easily and automatically when new files are uploaded there, right? So how all of this works? It's pretty simple, right? So you got your file storage, SharePoint or OneDrive for Business, Dropbox for Business, right? You got Bizagi. You are going to have a trigger in Bizagi that it is constantly checking that file storage. When a new file is detected or we identify that a new file has been uploaded there, we review if that file actually meet the condition that has been defined in the application, and then we basically start a new process, right? Those configurations will be added directly through our application in the expert module. Again, the expert view, we got the external system section, and basically here, what you will have to do is a standard configuration of an integration. So you got to select first if you want to get an integration with SharePoint, if you want to get an integration with Dropbox, then you can go directly to include the integration details, that client ID, client secret, the folder path, then do the logins correctly into every single one of them. And at the end, you can just include the storage that it is specifically the conditions that the file has to meet in order to create a new case in Bizagi. Something really important with this feature is that, of course, that file that has been uploaded into the file storage can be then sent directly into the process that you are creating. So this is going to be amazing because now we are expanding even the options of what we will be able to do with them. Because take a look that now you can combine multiple features in Bizagi. So you can have a file trigger that once that a file, it's being uploaded into one of these file storage, you create a new case in Bizagi, you send the file to Bizagi, and then probably you can do, I don't know, an OCR connector in Bizagi, or a phone recognizer, extracting all the data that you got it there. I don't know, maybe even trigger another process. The power is huge, right? And if you combine even this one with what we introduced about the AI agents, you even have much more possibility and a lot of benefits from you, right? So these 5 triggers are amazing, are available in the Spring 2024, and we cannot wait for every one of you to start using it in a several days. Now, I'm going to stop a little bit here to talk a little bit more about the details in terms of the self-services improvements, right? So as I was telling you, we got a lot of them. Some of them I will highlight them in my presentation. Some of them I will highlight it when I move to the platform. But I want for everyone to understand a couple things here. And it is, we are analyzing in every single version how we can give more self-service to our customers, right? We want to allow our customers to be as independent as they want, that they can, I don't know, do some configurations on their own and do not depend on what we're doing. And that's what we're releasing in every single version, right? So what we got here is, look, first of all, we have the possibility, or we have the option to simplify now the self-service for whitelist, right? So this is something that some customers maybe wants to just have, I don't know, some IPs to access the different portals that we got in Bizagi. This can happen because maybe, I don't know, some of the services are still on-prem. And now what we want to do it is that within the customer portal, we now have the option that you can add your whitelist. You can do this configuration either adding static IPs, right? So if you know exactly which are the IPs that are accessing, you can just add those static IPs. If you know the range, you can add the range, or even you can just add a full qualified domain name. So this is going to simplify. You can do this one per environment, so that's also really easy, and it is all part of the customer portal. That is something that you already know easily, right? Now, another self-service improvement that we have added in this Spring 2023 version is everything in terms of the local certificates, right? So once again, here, what had happened is that a lot of our customer has moved from on-premises releases to cloud, right? And now they have all Bizagi on the cloud. However, there are still some, let's say, on-premises systems that Bizagi still needs to connect to have the end-to-end orchestration. And for them is that we're offering these local certificates, right? So now what we got it here, it is that you don't need to wait, or you don't need to create a ticket, a support ticket to actually have these ones. What we have done is that within the Bizagi Management Console, we have added a new option within the custom variables of the environments, where you can just add something that is something called allowed local certificates whitelists, and that's it. And then you will be able to start adding your certificates on your own, and you don't need to depend on support tickets to actually do these ones on your own. So now, from the perspective of how this is going to look like in our platform, and I'm going to take the time even here to show you a couple more stops that we got or that we have added into our environment. Let me just switch really quickly to the platform and just show you what we got here, right? So here I am in a customer in a management console, right? The option that I'm telling you about the local certificates is going to be available here within the custom option that is available in the environment. In the option, you just go to the custom tab, you can add the property, and if you just add the elements that I just mentioned, right, allow a local certificate whitelist, you will be able to do the configurations on your own. But here, within the management console, we have also had a lot of capabilities in terms of the self-service and improvements. So it will help you a lot in the way on how you manage and control your environments. So just to give you an example, within the maintenance, right? Here in the maintenance, we have changed and improved the way on how you can actually customize all the maintenance, the window maintenance, right? So you will be able to see right now if your environment is running or not, if it is under a maintenance. We have improved the UI in terms of how you can actually include or modify the maintenance message that you got it here. We have added a whole new option that allows you to do a full service restart. This full service restart is going to allow you to take the Bizagi Work Portal, a scheduler, and the connector services into a restart. So in that way, maybe you can clean a lot of temporary files that are not necessary for you, right? So this is going to be really important in terms of what we will be able to do. Another thing that we have added here, it is one option that allows you to manage and control sequence, right? If you don't know what is a sequence, this is something that can be used within Bizagi to create basically sequences in processes that you are automating. So just to give you an example, imagine that you want to, I don't know, that all your purchase orders follows a name convention, right? PO 1000, PO 1001, PO 1002, and that, right? So that 1000, 1001, and 1002 is a sequence. We can define it when we're creating and automating our processes, and some of our customers want an option that directly from the management console, we can modify or we can change this information. We can modify the name, with the seat, the increment, and modify the values that we got here, right? Now, in terms of also self-services here, we have improved a lot of things in terms of the traces, right? Actually, if you got it now into the management console, take a look that we're going to have now two tracing options. The one, let's say the traditional one, is the one that we are going to leave there to actually do some support, maybe with old versions or with old traces. So we will keep it for a while. And then in the tracing new, we have been including a lot of new improvements in terms of what it's going to be able for us to see the information here. So here, the idea is that now you can filter your traces, you can do searches, you can see easily what it has happened to them. So we have been doing a lot of improvements in terms of the traces, the configuration, if you want to see one or if you want to see the other ones, if you want to do searches by range, by the creation of the trace. So there is going to be a lot of improvements here in terms of how you manage and control the traces into that point. So a lot of improvements in terms of self-services within the management console. So the management console is even now more powerful and you can do even much more stuff with this one, right? Now, to finish our session today, we will just jump really quickly to what it will be our last strategic directive that we will be talking today. And it is everything in terms of the governance, right? And keeping the idea of the last thing that I just told you, that it was actually the management console, right? So in terms of the governance, we have added now management console profiles, right? We have enhanced our auditing, and now we got a couple more stuffs here, right? So let me start first with the management console profile. So maybe you have heard from us in the last couple of versions that something that we have completely clear in the platform is that we need to have governance in place everywhere, right? And we have been adding a lot of governance capabilities in our platform in the last couple of versions, right? So we got governance now in our apps. So the experience matrix has actually a lot of features that allow you to manage the governance, right? So based on the persona and the business object and the interaction, we know exactly who can see which pages, who can do what over every single business object, if they can execute a rule, if they can execute a form, if it is a process, if it has visibility rules. So everything has governance when we're talking about the experience matrix. Even if you think about, we have governance when we're talking about ADA, right? So it's like which persona in which application can ask to ADA about what, which responses they will see. So everything is about governance, right? If we think about the developers, we have governance in place for the developers. Why? Because we have profiles for Bizagi Studio Cloud Services, right? So we can define if we want to have a full developer, or maybe a citizen developer, or a power user, or a, I don't know, data model architect, whatever we want, we will have it there. And we were missing this little last part that was the management console, right? And now what we have added is basically that option that you can have now profiles within the management console, so you can define who can do what here, right? And we have 4 different profiles now in this management console. Which ones? So you have first the owner of the management console. And the owner of the management console basically will have full access to the whole management console, but at the same time can control and manage users. So is the owner the one that can define which are the roles of the other users, right? Then we got a second level that are the administrators. The administrator will have full access to the management console, but they cannot control or modify users accessing the management console. We got a third one that is the technical role, and this one is going to have access to all the integration modules. So the connection, that is where we got all the integration with external systems, RPA ones, and all the other ones that got here, and also traces. And then we got a basic profile for the management console that is going to be the one that has access only to the traces. And that's it, right? So now, with this little piece that we were missing, now we have, let's say, profiles in every single piece of our platform. And now governance is crossover every single object and every single point where we're working there. Okay? So this is really good. This is really excited. And it's like, let's say, finish or close the loop with all the governance that we want to have in the different applications that we have, right? And now, we got also the studio auditing and the change history, right? So this is going to be really good when you have big development teams, and you want to understand a little bit more of what's happening in the last, I don't know, couple of weeks, days, months on your project. Who has made the last couple of changes? What they changed? It was good, it was not good. If they broke one project, how we can maybe even try to see what was before and trying to fix everything that we got, right? So now, the studio auditing option is going to be available in 2 different places. You will have it directly on the Bizagi Studio tool. If you are working in this Bizagi Studio and you are a developer, you can go through the Bizagi Studio to access this option, but also it's going to be available through the Bizagi Build portal, right? So you can use one or the other one according to the place where you're working and how you will be able to see it, right? So now, how these 2 options look like when we're working directly in our platform, like what will be the options that you will get and that you will have it here. So once again, if I am in my Bizagi Studio, let me maybe change this one because I'm not sure if this project will have it, right? So let me start with the Build portal, right? So if I am at the Build portal, right, remember that now every single subscription has a Build portal, build dash the name of your subscription. In this case, it's just product marketing. Here is the place from where you download your Bizagi Studio, but also now we have added the place where you can see all your projects. You can see the audit section, right? Now, when you got into the audit session, what you will be able to see is everything in terms of the last thing. So for how long would you like to see the modifications? Do you want to search for a specific name, for a specific object? Do you want to search maybe just for attributes, case numbers? Do you want to search for the user that actually did the modification over the elements that were working? So you can start filtering for a lot of stops that you got here. And when you find exactly which is the one that you want to see, take a look that I have this one. Is set edit response is the one that we got it over here. It is a business rule, and the last change was made by me. So I can see directly if the change was a modification or if I even delete the whole stop. Take a look that here I can see it was a delete. I delete the whole option. And once that I find that one, I can go and see the story of that point. and see all the changes in all the dates by which users. And then if I want, I can even compare the different contents that you want. Now, the audit option is going to allow you to see side by side which was the original, let's say, business rule in this example, and then see what it was the difference with the new one. If you delete something, then take a look that on the right side, you will be able to see this red dot. If you add something, you will see green lines, so you can identify easily what you got. Now, what if you are not on the build portal and you're actually in your Bizagi Studio project? So then you can just go directly into the search of your project. So it's going into this one. You can go into search for the one that you're looking for and take a look that here you got the same option. So you can see the expression or the object or the form or the experience matrix, whatever you have changed. Then you can go and edit directly, or you can just go and see the history. And when you click on the history, once again, you will see all the changes that has been applied into that business rule, right? So this is everything that we got on this version, right? This is also everything that I got for you on this Bizagi Pulse session. We're just getting really close to the hour. Thank you so much again, everyone, for your attention. Thank you so much for being today on the Bizagi Pulse. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day and see you on the next Bizagi Pulse session. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.